ladies and gentlemen. Happiness is a beautiful thing. It lights up our world, lifts our spirits, and brings a sense of peace that's hard to describe. But today I want to talk about something most of us don't think about: why sometimes, in moments of true happiness, we should be quiet. Yes, silence is golden, especially when it comes to our joy. You see, when we're happy, our first instinct is often to share it with the world. We want others to know how good life is. But here's the thing: true happiness doesn't need to be loud. It's not about shouting from the rooftops or posting it on every social platform. It's about feeling it deeply within yourself, embracing that moment of peace, and allowing it to fill your soul without seeking external validation. Why shut up when you're happy? First, it protects your energy. When you broadcast your joy, you open the door to other people's reactions, and not all of them are positive. Some may envy your success, while others might downplay your achievements. By keeping your happiness private, you shield yourself from negativity and the unnecessary noise of the outside world. Secondly, silence allows you to reflect. When we're quiet in our happiness, we give ourselves the space to appreciate it more fully. We can truly sit with that feeling, think about how far we've come, and savor the moment without distraction. And let's be honest, too much exposure can sometimes dilute the magic. By keeping certain things to yourself, you preserve the purity of your joy. It's like holding a precious gift close to your heart, knowing that its value increases when it's cherished privately. Instead of boasting about our happiness, we should practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool that amplifies joy. When we're thankful, we attract even more positivity into our lives. So rather than talking about your happiness, focus on quietly nurturing it, feeding it with gratefulness and humility. Remember, happiness is not a performance. It's a deeply personal experience. And sometimes, the best way to enjoy it is in silence, savoring every moment, and allowing it to grow without the need for validation. Happiness is a sensation. We all crave those moments when everything seems right, and you feel content, peaceful, and fulfilled. But there's something unique about the kind of happiness that doesn't scream for attention, that doesn't need to be shared with the world. It's quiet, it's internal, and it often provides the most profound sense of joy. This is what it means to embrace inner peace in moments of happiness. It's about finding fulfillment within yourself without needing external validation or the applause of others. Think about it. How often have we felt compelled to share our joy the moment it hits? We grab our phones, post on social media, call a friend, or tell anyone who will listen about the great thing that just happened to us. And while sharing happiness is natural, there's a kind of joy that runs deeper than what can be captured in a photo or a conversation. It's a kind of happiness that requires no witnesses, no external validation, no likes, comments, or cheers. It's the kind that can exist silently within us, bringing a deep sense of satisfaction and peace. When we truly embrace inner peace in moments of happiness, we stop seeking approval from the outside world. We no longer need others to validate our joy or confirm that what we're feeling is real or worthy. Instead, we know it for ourselves. We feel it deeply in our hearts. It's not that we're hiding our happiness or that we're unwilling to share it, but rather we're choosing to protect and nurture it within, rather than broadcasting it for the world to see. This quiet joy comes from a deep sense of contentment, one that's rooted in who we are rather than what we have. It's not tied to external circumstances like achieving a goal, getting recognition, or receiving something material. Instead, it's tied to an inner state of being. We feel this kind of happiness when we're aligned with our values, when we're living in a way that reflects who we truly are, and we're at peace with ourselves and the world around us. One of the reasons this kind of happiness is so powerful is because it's unshakable. When your happiness comes from within, it's not dependent on anything outside of you. That means it can't be taken away by other people's opinions, by changes in circumstances, or by life's inevitable ups and downs. It's a source of strength and resilience because it's grounded in your inner peace, not in external factors. When we embrace inner peace, we also give ourselves the space to truly experience and appreciate our happiness. In a world that often moves too fast, where we're constantly bombarded with information, distractions, and the pressure to achieve more, it's easy to rush through moments of happiness without really savoring them. But when we allow ourselves to sit with our joy in silence, we create room for it to grow. We can reflect on it, appreciate it, and fully feel the depth of that happiness without being pulled in a million different directions. This is especially important because happiness is often fleeting. We all know that life is full of challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. Moments of pure joy don't come around every day. So when they do, it's essential to make the most of them. By embracing inner peace and choosing not to broadcast our happiness, we ensure that we can fully absorb and cherish it. We make it last longer by allowing it to sink in deeply rather than letting it dissipate through the noise of external validation. In this sense, embracing inner peace when you're happy is also about self-care. It's about protecting your energy and your well-being. When we share our happiness too openly, we sometimes invite unwanted reactions, jealousy, envy, or criticism. While sharing joy can be a beautiful thing, it's also important to be mindful of who we share it with and how. Not everyone will respond with the same positivity, and their reactions can sometimes dampen our spirits. By keeping some of our happiness to ourselves, we create a safe space where we can nurture and grow our joy without interference. Ultimately, the quiet happiness that comes from inner peace is one of the most powerful kinds of joy we can experience. It's the happiness of knowing that you are enough, just as you are. It's the happiness of being at peace with yourself and your life, regardless of what's happening around you. And it's the happiness that doesn't need to be shouted from the rooftops because it's felt so deeply within your heart. In a world that often encourages us to be loud, to seek attention, and to constantly strive for more, there's something truly special about the quiet contentment that comes from inner peace. When we embrace that, we find a source of happiness that is both lasting and profoundly fulfilling. Sharing happiness feels natural. When something good happens, our first instinct is often to tell someone about it, to celebrate with others, and to broadcast our joy. But there's a subtle danger in overexposing our happiness, especially in the world we live in today, where every moment can be instantly shared with hundreds or thousands of people at the click of a button. While sharing joy is a beautiful thing, there's also wisdom in holding back sometimes. Overexposure, particularly of our most joyful moments, can invite unintended consequences that may dampen the very happiness we want to protect. When we share our happiness too freely, we open the door to a range of reactions from others. Not everyone will celebrate your joy in the way you hope they will. Some may feel jealous, others indifferent, and still others may downplay or dismiss your achievements. Human nature is complex, and while we may want to believe that others will always share in our happiness, the reality is that people's reactions are shaped by their own emotions, experiences, and circumstances. Jealousy is one such reaction that can arise when we share too much. When people see someone else's happiness, it can sometimes trigger feelings of envy, especially if they feel like they are lacking in their own lives. This isn't to say that people are inherently bad or mean-spirited, but life is tough, and when someone is struggling, it can be difficult for them to fully embrace someone else's joy without feeling a sense of loss or inadequacy themselves. By sharing too much, you may unintentionally spark negative feelings in others, even if your intentions are pure. On the flip side, there are also those who may downplay or minimize your happiness. Not everyone will understand the significance of your joy, and some may even criticize or judge it. Maybe you're excited about a personal milestone or an achievement that means the world to you, but to someone else it might not seem like a big deal. They might dismiss your happiness with a casual comment or an indifferent attitude, and that can be deflating. The excitement you once felt starts to lose its shine when others don't react with the same enthusiasm. There's also the risk of attracting unnecessary attention. By sharing your happiness too widely, you may invite people into your life who don't have your best interests at heart. Some people may seek to take advantage of your joy or use it against you in subtle ways. For instance, if you're too open about your successes, others might try to compete with you or bring you down. Not out of malice, but out of a desire to level the playing field or prove something to themselves. This can create tension in relationships, especially if people begin to view your happiness as something they need to challenge or measure themselves against. Beyond the reactions of others, overexposing your happiness can also have an internal impact. When we constantly share our joyful moments with the world, we can begin to rely on external validation to confirm our happiness. We start to seek approval from others, measuring the quality of our joy by the number of likes, comments, or congratulatory messages we receive. This external validation can be fleeting, and once the buzz wears off, we're left searching for the next thing to post, the next source of approval. Our happiness becomes less about how we feel internally and more about how others perceive us. Overexposure can dilute the purity of our happiness. When we spread our joy too thin, sharing it with too many people, it can lose its intensity. Happiness is often deeply personal, and when we share it in small, intimate settings with people who truly understand and care for us, it retains its power. But when we broadcast it to a wider audience, we risk turning it into just another fleeting moment, another piece of content in an endless stream of noise. In protecting our happiness from overexposure, we also protect its longevity. Happiness, like any emotion, can be fragile. It can be easily influenced by outside forces, both positive and negative. By keeping some of our joy private, we allow it to grow and flourish on its own terms, free from the pressures and judgments of the outside world. It becomes something we can nurture, reflect on, and carry with us, rather than something that is momentarily shared and then forgotten. It's important to be selective about who we share our happiness with. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to our joy. By choosing to share our happiness with a close-knit group of people who truly care for us and support us, we create a safe space where our joy can be appreciated and reciprocated in a meaningful way. These are the people who will celebrate with you, lift you up, and protect your happiness rather than diminish it. In today's hyper-connected world, the temptation to share every moment is strong. But there's value in holding back and keeping some moments of happiness just for yourself or for those who truly matter. By doing so, you preserve the integrity of your joy, protect it from the negative reactions of others, and keep it grounded in a place of authenticity and self-satisfaction. Happiness doesn't always need to be seen or heard by everyone sometimes. The quietest joys are the most powerful. In moments of happiness, it's easy to feel like the world should know. We want to share our joy, let others in on the good news, and spread the positivity. But there is incredible value in protecting your energy during these moments, and that often means choosing silence. When you protect your energy, especially during times of joy, you're creating a space for your happiness to grow, untainted by outside forces. This is about being mindful of who and what you allow into your space and understanding that not every moment of joy needs to be shared or announced. Happiness is a delicate, precious feeling, and like anything valuable, it needs to be guarded. The more we share our happiness indiscriminately, the more we expose ourselves to the world's reactions. While there are people who will genuinely celebrate with you, there are others who may not respond as kindly. Their reactions, whether motivated by jealousy, indifference, or even negativity, can affect your emotional state. When you open yourself up too much, you risk allowing external energy, both good and bad, to influence your internal peace. By choosing to stay quiet and keeping your happiness private, you protect yourself from the potential negative energy that can dampen your joy. Think of your energy as a finite resource. Every time you share a part of yourself, your joy, your excitement, your accomplishments, you're giving away some of that energy. When shared with the right people, those who uplift and support you, this energy exchange can be positive and enriching. But when shared with the wrong people, or in environments that don't nurture your joy, your energy can be drained. This doesn't mean that you should never share your happiness, but rather that you should be selective about when and with whom you do so. Protecting your energy is about setting boundaries that allow your joy to flourish without interference. Another reason to protect your energy during happy moments is that external reactions can alter how you feel about your own happiness. When we seek validation from others, we place the value of our joy in their hands. If they respond positively, we feel even happier, but if their reaction is lukewarm or negative, it can take the wind out of our sails. Suddenly, what felt like a moment of pure joy is clouded by doubt or disappointment. By keeping your happiness private, you avoid this risk altogether. You remain in control of your emotions, and your joy isn't dependent on how others react. It's yours, and no one else's response can change that. There's also the issue of vulnerability. When we share our happiness, we open ourselves up, making ourselves vulnerable to the world. While vulnerability can be a beautiful thing, it's also a risk. When you're happy, you're in a heightened emotional state, and if someone doesn't respond in the way you expect, it can hurt more deeply than it would otherwise. By keeping certain moments of joy to yourself, you shield yourself from this vulnerability. You protect your emotional well-being by maintaining control over who has access to your inner world. In addition to safeguarding your emotional state, protecting your energy during happy moments allows you to fully experience and appreciate your joy. When you're not focused on sharing your happiness with others or seeking validation from the outside, you can be fully present in the moment. You can savor the feeling, reflect on what brought you to this place of joy, and immerse yourself in the experience. Happiness is often fleeting, and by keeping it private, you create a space where it can linger and grow without distractions.